where information is power.
The views and opinions of the guest and host you hear on 1010 WOLB
are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Radio 1, its sponsors, or advertisers.
God bless you, radio listening audience. This is the program, The Light of Truth. I'm Pastor Kamy, and I will be your host every Thursday, 10 o'clock through 11. It is the express purpose of this program to address the tragic conditions which exist in some of our communities. Conditions such as drugs, gangs, hopelessness, poverty, low self-esteem, and low expectations. But most especially, I must address the extraordinary amount of violent deaths which are occurring amongst our youth. Jesus said, I came that they may have life and have it more abundantly. Join me every Thursday from 10 o'clock to 11 to hear the information which is designed to be the inspiration that will encourage you to live life and live it more abundantly. Please join me now. Good morning. God bless you, radio listening audience. Just another day that God has blessed us to see, and we all should rejoice in it. I'm going to read, as I do and have started doing, from the book by Iyanla Vanzant, Acts of Faith. And I'm going to read first a quote, and then I will read the important aspect that I wish to address. Nothing can dim the light which shines from within. This is spoken by Maya Angelou, one of our great poetess. Each of us brings to the world unique talents, gifts, and abilities. Even if you don't know what it is, or what value what you do, or value what you do, someone somewhere will benefit from your presence. No one can do what you do exactly the way you do it. It is this uniqueness that makes you valuable to the world. We are each as unique and valuable as the other. It was designed that way. It was a gift from God. Gifts are not given on the basis of race or gender. As a matter of truth, gifts come in many shapes, sizes, colors, and I add ages. When you do what you do exactly the way you do it, you are sharing God's gifts bestowed for the good of the world. Today, say these words: I have something valuable to give to the world. I'm from this point forward, I'm missing my dear friend Cynthia. She could not come, but God has blessed me with another very intelligent, someone who knows the gift that God has given him. He knows it's unique, and it is his intentions to share it with the world. I'm going to allow him to introduce himself.
My name is Carlos G. I'm an artist, illustrator. Released 2 coloring books recently, and I'm a co-host and a graphic designer for the Soapbox Poetry Radio. That's where we interview local poets, mainly in the DMV area, and that's basically it. And we host our Soapbox Poetry open mic every third Friday of the month. So if you get a chance to come, it's on It's at New Bohemia on West Biddle Street, 42 West Biddle Street, every third Friday of the month.
Well, the purpose of me bringing Carlos on is multifaceted, really. But one of the things that I wish to share, and I think you're well aware, I am a multifaceted person. So even though we have been addressing primarily the violence that is going on in our communities, and I've been bringing mothers who've lost sons to this violence, I told you I'm eclectic, meaning I will have different people, different subjects, different conversations. I have this young man because we cannot allow America to paint a portrait of young African American men. And I think it's been already painted and it's projected nationally that young black men are either in gangs or they're in drugs or they're going to the graveyard or they're incarcerated. And so I will be bringing more young people, primarily African American males, who actually do not fit that picture. This is a 19-year-old young man. His host, I think, what is her name? Miss Brown. Domite Brown. She told me about him. And at a meeting that I went to at Liberty Tech Rec Center, I think Miss Trulier was the one who had said it when she was on our program, and I followed through. If you tell me you're doing something, I will come to see just exactly what it is that you're doing. And so it was at that meeting that I met Ms. Brown, and she was talking about this young man and his outstanding gift, very unique, that God has given him. Before we get into conversation with Carlos, let me announce what I should have done a couple weeks ago. Ms. Brown is hosting a training session, and it's for youth who are from ages 13 through 20. And if you are a listener and you have a son or a daughter or you have friends who have them, listen carefully to this announcement and make sure that you take the phone number and call. It's a free job skill training program. It is about to begin, and that's why I'm mentioning it. It meets 4 weekdays for 12 weeks from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. They can earn, the children who are getting these skills and learning different things necessary to be good citizens. They can earn up to $400. Now, I want to be explicit about this because sometimes when we see dollar bills, we don't read the fine writing. And it says when you have completed the program. And I was talking with Ms. Brown, and that meant the entire program. That means you're there for 12 weeks every day. You stay from 4:30 to 7:30, and then you can earn up to $400. Now, that's what it's built upon. If you want information about this, you can call 410-929-1579. I'll repeat it, 410-929-1579. And it's located at 3901 Main Avenue at the Liberty Rec and Tech Center. I think that this is excellent because the summer is coming up and children will be getting out of school. And I always believe, if that's the way I was raised, that you did something productive in the summer, even though you weren't in school. And this gives them an opportunity to get a skill that they can use as they continue learning, going through the high school, college, whichever way, they can develop a skill. Sometimes skills is all one needs. You may not necessarily go to college and get a degree, but if you got a skill. I was speaking with this young man, and we'll get back to him now. He was telling me that he went to Maryville. Is that the correct?
Maryville?
School. And that he took up carpentry. Well, everyone knows carpentry is an outstanding skill to have. A good carpenter is wanted and needed. And so I don't know what other skills that they have, but I'm going to allow him, because I was told by Ms. Brown that you did participate in this program. Why don't you describe for us exactly the program?
Okay. The program consisted of, it was numerous different courses in the program. They change it each cohort they have. So they try to incorporate artistic skills with job learning skills also. So that way they have an artistic approach and creativity towards the goals that they go to. So the cohort I was in, we had poetry, where we was learning self-expression, because a lot of people needed a lot of self-expression, because it's definitely good for those to get out those emotions that they need to. We had Damante, which she had the social
leadership.
Yeah, social leadership classes, where she showed us how to pretty much communicate ideas more concise and approach people like I would say it was just more like having more foundation to your communication skills with other people. And we had Stacy, where she would host the where we would look into our careers and then write our PowerPoints and resumes, so that way, because not a lot of people get to write their resumes, like especially at a young age. So she showed her how to structure it and put it together. And then we have a resume by the end of the course. And then at the end of the course, we would have mock interviews so we could prepare for actual job interviews. And then after we would do the mock interviews, we would get like the reviews on how we had did. And then we would have a celebration and shine for going through the whole program. But as she has said, you have to go through the whole program to get that 400. It's a free program, so like it's pretty good.
Okay, now, so one of the things that I think I heard you say, let's be a little bit more clear. You said that they had, what was this, self-expression, or what?
It was poetry.
And it was designed to do what exactly?
It was for self-expression. It was just delving deeper into yourself and learn how to express it through the words. And so it was just because poetry is poetry is almost like a self-reflection, almost depending on how you approach it. So we had Deleste Johnson. She's an actual poet in Baltimore. She does shows here and there, like yeah, pretty much we just we wrote out poems and learned, and then we performed them in front of each other pretty much on a daily basis. And we just had like numerous activities that we do as groups. Like we'd have like a select few of words, and then we had to structure them together into whatever type of poem we would like, and then perform it in front of the other team and stuff. That's basically what we had did.
Okay, so in essence, what it was designed to do was to teach you how to express your inner emotions, how to clearly convey to someone how you feel. Exactly. That was what the poetry aspect was done. Was it? It probably also was done to because when you start speaking in front of people, you're nervous, and it helps you to perhaps eradicate that fear.
Yeah.
Once you start speaking, one of the things poetry has always served as actually a poetry. We know that from biblical days. That's all the Psalms are. There is poetry, and they express the conditions that people are experiencing and going through. This generation calls poetry rap. It's the same thing. So a lot of the rap songs, that's not my genre, but I've had to learn to try to understand the rap genre, and in listening, I understand that they speak from their experiences, and that's what the poet does.
Yep.
The poet speaks to the social conditions of a people, and that's why it's important when we not to castigate, or some of the rap is atrocious. But then if that's the society or the community in which you're living, that's what you've got to speak to. And I'm going to be dealing and addressing the rap conversation. I'll get some people who do rap. I intend to address that because a lot of the younger children are caught up in the rap, and they want to be rap stars. Now, it used to be a previous generation, they wanted to be like Mike, and now they want to be like the rap stars, those who, but we've lost a lot of rap stars to murder, and based on some of the things they said in, whatever it was that they were writing.
Yeah.
But they were directing y'all in a more positive, I'm sure, avenue in terms of saying about poetry. It's they're similar.
They're similar, but they're not different structures.
There are different structures to it. Now, when you were talking about the leadership, could you further expound on what exactly took place? I mean, what exactly did they do? What exactly did you learn?
What did I learn? During the whole course, I learned better how to express myself and communicate ideas better with other people. And, it gave me more, confidence to chase after a goal and such. And then I got to meet a lot of good people throughout the course. And then it was a support I had never seen before. So it was definitely a big get up for me.
It was a support you said you had never seen?
Yeah, it was
or experienced?
Experience. Yeah.
So when you speak of this support, could you expound on that? Exactly what support? Who are you talking about? What are you talking about?
I guess it was more supportive of your goals and motives and who you are.
Okay.
Yeah, and I got a lot of recognition for the talent and unique skills that I had.
Okay.
Yeah, because I really never got that anywhere else. And then it was people that actually guide me along to some other path that could actually help me strive forward.
Okay.
As far as leadership, if it can bring more confidence and stability to you, I felt way more confident as far as going along with a lot of things. So,
what do you mean you felt more confident with going with a lot of things?
I would say more socially, because I was never really a highly sociable person until I got there. Then I started talking way more. Because throughout high school I didn't really talk much until I got to that course. Okay. Yeah, I actually found out about the program through another friend. And she had recommended it to me, and I just went right away. Because I just wasn't down to really let down an opportunity to learn something.
I like that. That is something that I've stood on all my life. I'm a consummate learner, and hopefully you will be in life. I have seen that it's been beneficial. I told his host, Miss Brown, that he should be here at least 9:45, and I arrived at 9:30, but I was sitting in the car saying, well, I'll wait to see if I could see him. He took a bus from, I believe you live in somewhere in East Baltimore.
Yeah, I live near Towson almost.
Almost Towson, and he has arrived. He was,
I'm sitting.
what time did you arrive?
9.
He came at 9 o'clock, and I can see the benefit of what he is speaking on. I do want you parents to introduce your children to this program, because it gave him confidence to come, and he was ahead of time. And that's the mark of success. It gave him confidence to come. Let me say also to my callers, I did express last week that I would allow my guests to have more time to speak to them. That was something new I had to do. I love my callers, but I do need the guests to be able to share with them. And I want to digress for one moment, because I did see one that was on. I want to say this, and I will have to move quickly past it because it's yet painful. Last Thursday, my sister, who has been beyond a great support in my life, and always listens to the program, she was greatly inspired, and she called the names, and Dwight, she said Michael, and she said Charles, and she really liked what they said, and she called me about it. And then I get a call 7 o'clock the next morning, and she has gone on to be with the Lord. But I want to say, you never know. Those of you who speak, you don't know whose lives you are touching. You just don't know the words that you're speaking. You don't know the inspiration it is to someone. And I am grateful to those men who she called me about, Michael, Dwight, and Charles, and commented on those. And if that made her happy in her, and she didn't know it and I didn't know it, it was her last moments. I'm grateful to y'all for that calls that you did. You just don't know who you are encouraging and who you are inspiring. And so I appreciate my callers. But I wanted to give this young man a few more minutes to talk. Tell me, when did you discover that you love to draw and that an artist is what you felt you wanted to be?
Art. I had started doing art in 6th grade because I saw my friends drawing, so I just attempted at that. Then I did it for like 2 years, kind of consistent. Then I stopped like middle school. Then I picked it back up during my junior year in high school throughout senior until now. But throughout my high school, I was doing boxing, and that's martial arts, so it was discipline there. And I just really loved the exercise and discipline. Then it gave a more focus on things. And then it brought a different perspective on how to approach things technically. So that was definitely a big benefit for me. And then as far as art, like, I just really like doing creations. Then you can express a lot of things in one image. And then plus, art doesn't just range in just images. You can just go with words too and create simple things that can uplift other people. And you can actually stand for other people throughout whatever you create. You can just create a representation of a certain category of people. So I just like the broad horizons of it.
Okay. Let me ask you a question, because I'm sure, have you had any friends or acquaintances that have gone the route of good drugs, gangs, violence?
Any friends? I never hung around anyone like that because I didn't didn't need that in my life.
So what made you, have you had knowledge of any of them?
Knowledge, like, I have knowledge, like, some of it throughout my family, though.
That's,
so, yeah.
And when you say throughout your family, what are you speaking of exactly?
Like, as far as usage of drugs and selling, yeah.
Okay. What was it that, how were you able to steer clear of it?
It's just, I think it just has something to do with just basic perception of the person itself. Because I'm always highly observant of everything. That's one thing I definitely noticed during when I was boxing, because I always loved to observe, so I kind of fell into that. But I think I just really observed a lot of things that was going around me. Then I saw the effects and outcomes. Then I looked at where everybody was currently in their life, because they're in their 50s and 60s, and they haven't really gone anywhere. So I saw that as representation and not to do anything that involved that. So here I am today.
Well, I'm glad that you were a young man who was able to look at others' lives, as you said, that didn't turn out so productive, and made a conscious decision not to go in that direction. In the neighborhood, and you don't have to give the specifics, that you live, I'm not totally familiar with the areas here in Baltimore, but I'm sure you come across and see young men on the corners and doing what they do.
Yeah.
While you were in school, what was the type of atmosphere that you saw in the school system? Because you just came out, a year ago?
Yeah, it's been about 2 years.
2 years now?
You're
19, right?
Okay.
Okay. What were some of the classroom conditions that you seen?
The classroom conditions, like, to me, they weren't all that productive.
What do you mean by that exactly?
It could just be a personal thing. Like, there were a few classes that were productive, and the teachers were, like, really conveying something to learn. But a lot of them were just teachers falling under pressures of the students, mainly.
When you say falling under the pressure of students,
I guess the students were, like, too much to handle, or they just
what were they doing?
Listen, they wouldn't really do the work. They would horse around, the typical things that kids usually do. Not everybody would, do their homework. Some would fall behind. Some come late to class. It's just a lot of that.
So when you said that the teachers would fall...
and they would fall... Like, to me, they were falling victim to them because they wouldn't really know how to approach it. And then someone with, like, a lot of new teachers, so they were new to the structure. So they had to try to adapt, and I guess it's too much, too quick.
Okay. What were the class sizes? Approximately.
I don't really know how to really measure it, I'd say.
You don't measure it? How many children were in a classroom?
How many? I'd say at least 20, I think.
Well, that's doable. I'm understanding a lot of the schools in Baltimore City, in high school especially, have up to almost 30 or 35.
Yeah.
So 20 is doable. That's doable. And the high school?
Yeah.
Because you were in Maryville. Okay.
There's Mergenthaler Vocational and Technical High School. Is this short Maryville, so it's Mergenthaler, then it's the vocational.
Okay. And so you were a part of the vocational.
Yeah, pretty much everybody was part of the vocational. You didn't really start the trade until your sophomore, because as soon as you was freshman, you were just getting basic credits and stuff. So you didn't start until sophomore through your senior, when you started really studying the trade that you had selected. Well,
as a young man and perhaps one day a future leader, never know where life takes you. I need to hear from a young person, because as adults, we have our own perspective of life.
Yeah.
What is your perspective on the type of violence and loss of lives of young African American male. What is your perspective? In other words, if you, as a leader, if you were, could you explain perhaps to people in my generation, why are we seeing so much of this?
When I look at it, it just has something to do with the person themselves and their family structure, because the family is the first thing you see when you born.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically who are the people that's before you and teaching you. And then you have the outside influences. So if everybody's the same within the same vicinity, it's going to just lead to the same problems unless there's somebody else there to change the outcome.
Okay.
Like, that's kind of how I see it.
So did you have many friends in school?
I just had a select few that I pretty much really stayed in contact with. I just know, I can kind of just feel who I can keep contact with. Like, I just had people I saw at school and people that I just really hung out with outside of school.
Describe the people you hung out with.
But they were just pretty chill people. They were artists also. They were like more structured and had more of a goal. It was just mainly a lot of creative people or something hands-on, kind of. Like, because I had a friend, he makes music, he produces beats, and he had studied under like masonry, so he learned how to like do bricking and stuff. So like, how would I, like, I guess it was just mainly people that really stayed out of a lot of the chaos that was going on in the streets.
Okay. They now since they were friends, did you know anything of their home structure?
Not necessarily, but you can kind of get an impression of that family structure through who they are, kind of, but it's not guaranteed because you never know what actually goes on throughout the household and what happens.
Right. How was your home structure?
That, like, the most supportive is my mother and my grandmother. Like,
Grandma was there.
Yeah, always there. Yeah, definitely.
Grandma.
Like, and then it was just a lot of conflicts between my grandmother and her sons, mainly.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna go too far into it.
No, not the specifics.
Yeah, I'm just. Yeah.
I'm more or less talking about the structure, the parental structure. What was Grandma like? As related to you?
Yeah, she really supportive, and she made sure you stay on track, though.
Okay. How would she do that?
She just check on what you plan on kind of doing throughout the day. Pretty much, yeah. Like, are you handling what you have to handle during out the day? And my mother, she's supportive of like pretty much anything I do, and she was still she's pretty much like another pretty much another duplicate of my grandmother, pretty much. So I had to double up on like the pressure of that. So, but like, it was never like, cause I never really had a problem with like doing work, cause like once you do it, it's done. You just move on to whatever else you have to do. So.
So in essence, what you're saying, they, and this is what I was trying to get to, the structure. Grandma, you said she always checked up, did you do this? So she was teaching you responsibility.
Yeah.
She wanted you to be a responsible person. And you said mom was almost a carbon copy of Grandma, because that was her mom.
Yep.
Okay, so you had a family that wanted you to be take responsibility, be a responsible person. Okay, and they ensured that because she would follow up with you. Or did you have chores to do? Or?
Like, I didn't have a lot of chores because there was a lot of people. Like, I got here and there, but like, it's just more or less like a few things, unless they would just do it instead. But like, I never had a problem with doing anything around the house. Like, I'd vacuum, clean the bathroom, etc.
Good.
Yeah.
So she was teaching you those skills. And what other skills would you say that you learned from those matriarchs?
It's just, how would I go about it?
Well, what other skills? I mean, it could be
Skills.
you learned responsibility.
Yeah.
You learned that they also taught you that it's not unmanly to vacuum a floor.
Oh no, like
Okay.
I don't see how that is unmanly. Like,
Well,
it's just a
well,
responsibility.
men have a tendency. Look, let us take at this moment, but I'm glad this call. Mark is here. Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Hey,
Hey.
Pastor, how you doing?
I'm blessed.
I've been listening to y'all. Thank God again for your show.
Thank you.
You know, and young man, and I'm glad that you're one of the many young people in our city that's doing the right thing.
Exactly.
You know, we don't hear enough about that. You know, I know it's a lot of violence and all that kind of stuff. And Pastor, we got to say something about those convenience stores and stuff that sell those knives for $10 and stuff. I know that young man know about that. So I'm just so glad for your show and that we're getting it out of the mouths of a young person.
Exactly.
We hear so much stuff, and you're so a visionary to have him on, and thank God for Liberty Elementary with Kim Trueheart and
Yes.
and Patrick Henderson and all those people and yourself. So take care.
Bless you. Thank you for
Thank you for the show, and thank you, young man. Let everybody know what's really going on.
I appreciate you.
All right.
Thank you. That we thank him for that comment. And yes, this is what I do intend to do. I need to, and I'm sure we know, but we need to hear. We need to be encouraged as a community that there are young African American male and female children out here who are doing positive things. People like to focus on the negative.
Yeah.
And if people or an entity have a ulterior motive, then they will focus on the negatives of life. But we know that there's a negative and positive to everything in life. Even those young men who do the negative things, there's something positive in them. And so I'm glad that you come this morning, glad that you accepted to come. You stand as a representative of the many that hopefully, if it's God's will, that will come in here and speak up, because you are representative of the leadership young leadership that needs to be nurtured and encouraged, because if we haven't found the solution yet, and we're trying to see how we can eradicate or reduce. I doubt if you'll ever eradicate violence. Violence has been a part of the human experience since the beginning. But if we can reduce some of the pain and suffering. I went to a wake the last Friday, even though I'm in a grief state. I went to a wake of my friend's grandson. He was 23 years old, and we went to his wake, and it was just tragic for me to see, as I normally do if I happen to go to these kinds of situations. All the young people coming in. There is I would say a proverb or an idiom that's said by the Snafu people of I can't think of the African country at this moment. But for them, they say that when the young die ahead of the old, they see the environment as out of order. And so they seek to find a solution to restore it back, because it's not natural. It's not natural that the young go ahead of the parents, the grandparents, in many instances, great-grandparents. And so when I was there at this young man, he wasn't violently taken in one sense, but he died of an overdose, whatever drug he was taking. and I came to hear a new drug that I done some kind of Xanny something.
Xanax.
Oh, well, you know about it.
I just heard enough.
But I heard it for the first time this past Friday. A Xanny pack is what the mother was saying. I'm going to be bringing that particular mother on because at least she was honest with me about how her child came to do. One of the things that our people don't like to do is to be honest with what happens with our children. And we must. And then there are reasons why it happens. And it starts in the home. And I don't, desire any mother to call and say, well, you ain't talking about, no, I'm not. I'm talking about those homes that have not been the example. You spoke of your mother. And you said, well, my mom is just like grandma. Grandma was the example for your mother.
Yep.
And the parents are the example for their children. My sister was really impressed with something Michael, I believe it was Michael, one of the callers has spoke about. He was very selective of who his children brought into the home. And these are some of the conversations we're going to have. Our people don't like to have it.
Yeah.
They like to blame and complain, but we have to face up to the fact. Some of these things come out of the home. And so this mother that shared with me about the Xanny pack, I didn't know anything about what she was talking about, and it was beyond my pay grade. It was okay, but she was explaining what it was, and he's 23. And here, a young man who was came like yourself, had purpose and gifts, as I spoke about today, and he took it to the graveyard. And it's not only robbing families; it's robbing our community.
Yep.
Of the gifts that God has placed inside of you to be a benefit to our community and to humanity. And we never know when we're looking at a baby who that child will become. And it is our responsibility as adults, as community leaders, to be the example that you young people can follow. And that's why I am grateful for people such as Kim Trulier and her name is Damate Brown, who have taken, that was their gift, that was their calling, and they're reaching out to another generation and leading y'all in the correct way. I'm grateful for that, grateful for the young man, Mark, who called to encourage you. We need more men to stand up and work with our young men, and I'm believing God for that to take place. Let's talk about your art now, because she did say that you wish to plug your art, and I'm going to allow you. I did see a coloring book that you did. Outstanding. It's $5. I think I got
Soapbox,
$5.
Poetry Radio coloring book. You can get it on Amazon also. You can order it from there for $5.
No, I'm gonna pay extra money.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just give you the $5 right now and save all that.
Okay, yeah, I don't blame
but
you.
I want you to give this information. You brought some art. They cannot see it, but you can describe it. Did you bring something with you?
Yeah, I brought my sketchbook.
And so describe I saw the coloring book. Let's talk about that first. Just talk about bringing up the coloring book and
Coloring.
Yes, and let's talk about that first. Then we'll get into the sketch, and you can tell us what you're sketching. Baby just said.
Yeah.
Set that up in the yeah. Go ahead, do as you wish.
I was just gonna talk. For the coloring book, I had just because I was
What's
doing
the name of it? That's right.
Soapbox Poetry coloring book. I made it off because I'm on a radio show with my friend Mecca. She does poetry, so I've been helping her out as far as like graphic design, promoting like the show. So we just have like 4 people right now just for the radio show, and we just talk about poetry and just like basic things on life. So I just used the poets that we interviewed, and then I would make a visual representation of them in the coloring book.
Okay.
So,
and that's how you got the title Soapbox, because that's what this is kind of seen like. Soapbox. And so each of those in that coloring book, you're telling me is a representative.
Those are poets that's in actual Baltimore right now.
Well, outstanding. Outstanding. Now look at how you are also, it is your gift that you have, and it is exposing their gift through your coloring book. That's collaborative work. I love that. Yes, and then you have this sketchbook. Go in and describe some of the things that you draw.
I do portraiture. At first I just start off with just mainly sketching, and that's just pencil and maybe some ink or something. Then I moved to painting and watercolor. I would just do portraits, and then I would do surrealistic twist of the body, like body parts and stuff, and put them in awkward places that usually wouldn't be.
Okay.
Yeah. What I do with the art,
let's talk about that when you say surrealism. You put body parts in places. What? Explain that concept of why. Why? What's the purpose?
Why? Because the body can express a lot of different things at once.
Oh, I like that.
So I could put arms for legs, and legs as arms, and heads as shoulders, because the body, and then emotionally, people do have fluctuating emotions and how they feel and express. Because I just use like a kinetic type of expression throughout the drawing, so it's like it's always moving. Somebody described my art as ghettos in different galaxies.
Oh,
yeah.
Now that's interesting. Yeah. Ghettos.
In different
galaxies.
Yeah.
From what did they pull the word ghetto? What? So you're drawing everyday scenes that occurs in ghettos? I'm trying to connect up with why they put that term there.
Because a lot of my stuff is just spatial. Like, it's not like a flat structure or anything. Like, it's not like it's just something sitting on something. It's just like it's floating in space, I suppose. Because I just started thinking about it, like, as far as like the galaxy. But as far as the ghettos, like, I guess it's because I only draw just black people, and I guess ghettos represents black people.
No, it doesn't.
Which it doesn't.
And that's part of the misinformation that is portrayed about our community that I wish to dissolve. Actually, we need to understand the word ghetto. It's been equated with black, with poverty. Actually, it derives out of a term in the 1930s, I believe, when the Jewish people, it just speaks of a concentration of a specific racial group. But we have turned the ghetto into another, definition. It's okay. But the ghetto does not just express African American people, and we need to. I can't allow that kind of conversation. Not from you. I'm saying from others. I want to change that. This is not true. It just means a ghetto is always something that speaks of poverty, violence, death, destruction, boarded up buildings. That is one aspect of a concentration of people who live there. But then that is not all Black America. And we're going to be bringing on different aspects of Black America. We should never allow anyone to paint us, give their mental portrait of us. And we should never take hold of it.
No.
But that person seeing that and is seeing the ghetto in different galaxies. What exactly did you have that made him say that? What drawing had you done?
I think it was a picture of a woman, like she was in space with like a city coming out of her back, and then it was like a sun. She was like holding the sun in her hands. It wasn't necessarily. It was like she was blowing to the sun. So then I called the piece "Carrying Cities to the Sun." Yeah, And like a lot of, mine is just usually spatial.
Now, when you say the sun, and I know artists have a hard time conveying to those of us who are not artists, the artists, when you're an artist, your minds go in different directions than the average person. I'm not an artist, so I'm trying to understand.
Yeah.
I liked it when you said that the one that you painted, and I would like to see that, of the woman, she's in a galaxy, and galaxy is generally the stars.
That's like one of my favorite pieces that I did.
Okay. And on her back, you said it's coming out of her back.
It's a city coming out.
Is a city.
Yeah.
Now, what does that city look like to you?
It was just bright. It was blue, and it just had really light blue specks because the glow of the city. Because to me, I guess it was kind of representation of just experience with just women throughout my life. Because like everybody was really encouraging a lot of the women. So
I like what you just said.
Yeah, they're really encouraging. So they carry us to the sun, basically. So they carry us to the top.
Now the sun. When you say, what's the sun reflective of to you?
The sun, like, cause it's a source of energy.
Yes.
And it brings light. Like it brings, cause it just does a lot of things for nature anyway, because without the sun, we wouldn't really have any grass. We wouldn't be able to see. So it plays a big role in a lot of light, period. Like,
I like the representation that you have as we begin to come to a close. I like the representation that you have of a woman. And she is out of her back, you have this city. That speaks volumes for me. We were talking last week, and I think for us as African American people, the woman has carried a lot on her back, the black woman, from days of our enslavement. And it has been them that have been able to encourage us to go on, the sun representing the light, the energy, that it can be better. I like how you depicted that our artwork. Did you sell that one?
I actually have. It's a place called Pipe Dream. It's on, I forgot the address. It's on Howard Street.
Okay.
It's in a frame up there. Yep.
I must go see it. Why don't you tell people where they can purchase your art? I'm looking at some of his artwork. I really loved the coloring book. He's an excellent artist. You're gifted beyond words to speak. Where can how do you sell your artwork? What do you do?
I have prints so far. Like, you can contact me through email at carlostg@gmail.com. You can email me and just tell me where I need to send the prints to, whatever image you want. I have them on my Instagram and Facebook. I have them online, basically, as a showcase for you to see. And then also, March 10th, I'm having a local art show with 3 other friends. And it's at New Bohemia on 42 West Biddle Street. I'm selling art there along with other friends, so should definitely stop by to see the artwork and purchase if you want a piece. We're gonna have music, coffee, tea, all that.
And that's March 10th.
March 10th.
And the location?
It's from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. on that day.
Repeat the address.
42 West Biddle Street, New Bohemia.
March 10th.
March 10th.
At the time?
6:30 to 8:30 p.m.
6:30.
Well, 6:30 p.m. to 6.
And that's an indoor event, of course.
Yep.
Okay, we're grateful to this young man. Is there anything else you wish to discuss or share with people about your art or your direction in life?
Like, I just, like, I just want to make a stable living and try to stabilize other people's lives. That's what I see the only purpose. That's like what I feel my purpose is, to just get a stable enough environment for myself so I can stabilize others.
How would you stabilize
How would I
others if you were
stabilize?
stabilized?
How can you stabilize? I can't guarantee that I can, but I can try.
How were you planning on?
Like,
What were you? You're just 19 and it's okay, but go ahead.
Like throughout the people that I've been meeting lately, I've been like connecting them with other, like my friends that are also artists too. So I've been wanting them to also have the same connection that I have, so they can also have access to. I just want to open up opportunity for other people, and if they don't want to go, like, I'm not sure exactly what I can do, but I want to have the opportunity for the people that do want to just go do something, because a lot of doors are open, people just don't see them.
Their doors are opened, and you're correct, and this will be a conversation I will have hopefully next week. There are major doors opening, major doors that will be opening. I will be announcing, and I might as well do it right now, beginning the first Saturday in April. I will be establishing and opening and starting a how to start your own business class. I'll give you further information at a later date, the closer that we get to it. This is the season for us as a race of people to rise up. If God has given you a gift, a talent, you can do it in this season. I will talk to you about that. You can do it in this season and be an inspiration. We thank God for this young man who has inspired me and given me hope for what I have thought maybe be a hopeless situation. But here he has come on this morning and done that, and to God be the glory. I hope those of you who have listened have heard this young man and realized that there's hope for our young African American men. We will be doing more of these kinds of sessions, not only with them, but with the young ladies. This is the pastor, Pastor Kamy, telling you that life is for living, and I want you to live the life that God has given you, the life of productivity, be an inspiration to someone else. And this is the pastor saying, until we speak again, keep, as Jesse Jackson would say, keep hope alive, not only for yourself, but for others that you see. Be blessed. The Word of God teaches us. The Word of God teaches us that you shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. This is Pastor Kamy saying, you shall live and not die.